All right, welcome to today's Fun Friday team meeting. And we are excited today because we have a couple guests that have joined us. This is the meeting where we really learn how to move ourselves forward so that we can also help other people and inspire other people's lives. Some of you who have joined us are clients on program who are moving yourself forward towards your optimal health. Others of you are looking forward to just helping more people achieve what you've achieved yourself, or maybe you just have a passion for a healthier body, healthier mind, and healthier lifestyle for yourself and other people, and you're helping other people by coaching. So there's multi-levels of people getting healthy, and that's what really this is all about, is helping people do what you believe in. With that said, I know we have some new faces that I'd love to have introduced before we kick off into some of our training today. So with that said, Diane, it sounds like you've got somebody you'd like to.
Yeah, I do. Her name is Julie. Unfortunately, we can't see Julie because she's on her iPad. So, but anyway, Julie's been on the program for, I think about 6 weeks and is doing phenomenally. She's fully integrated, just amazing to work with. And I'm really excited for her to give maybe a little bit of her story. Can you do that now?
You want to you want to unmute there, Julie. There should be like a little icon that you can click. I'll give you 5 seconds to unmute yourself.
I knew that. I'm
Excellent.
sorry.
Where are you from, Julie? And how'd you how was life before? What's happened since? Maybe take a minute to let us know what's going on with you.
Well, it's pretty standard, I think, what a lot of people have experienced. I'm in my 50s now and haven't been able to lose weight. I've had some thyroid issues, and a friend recommended Take Shape for Life, and I ended up meeting up with Diane, and I've been doing 7 weeks now. I'm 15.8 down.
Wow.
It just has taught me how to eat properly and focus on the whole picture, not just losing the weight. That's what I've always done in the past. I just felt like lose the weight and then I can move on, but I would go back to my old eating habits. So Diane did want me to talk about the doctor's call, and I do listen to them. I listen to the doctors and nurses' calls and why it's important. And Dr. Anderson did the call this week, and what I found, one of the things he stated was that it gives credibility to the program. And that's very important to me, because when people notice that I've lost weight and they ask what I'm doing, I don't have to say I'm eating some bars and losing weight. I'm using all the tools available to me. And there are professionals available to me, and that's important. Using the doctor's calls and the nurse's call will give me access to those professionals so that I have time to ask questions. And then it teaches me how to approach my doctor with what concerns I have or what I need. And that's important, because sometimes we don't know how to talk to our doctors. So the communication there is very important. A lot of times the issues that people call in about don't apply to me, but I still feel that I'm actively engaged and I'm in a positive mindset. And that's why I continue to listen. And I can also help others. I may hear something that may not pertain to me, but will help me support someone else. I try to be active on the message boards, and you never know. I mean, I'm not going to give medical advice, but I'm going to say, hey, I heard about this. You should check with your doctor, or listen to the call, or send them a link to the call. So those are things that are important to me and keep me focused. And using the calls in addition to all the resources available puts me in the well-rounded plan. It's not just about losing weight.
Wow. That was great. It's funny. I think you just really did a great job covering the doctor's call and your introduction all in about a minute and a half. So that was pretty phenomenal.
Good. I was nervous because she told me 3 minutes. I'm not used to doing this, but I thought I would just cover it all.
That's great. I was just thinking you were going to do your intro, and we got the whole review, and I'm excited about that doctor's call. I've been a little bit preoccupied with these new girls in my life. I have twins, for those of you who don't know, that were just born a few days ago. And I've been, fortunately, though, still plugging into team meetings and getting all this great content. And I can tell you from just that review alone, my new doctor, who I just got a new doctor for myself yesterday, who's very interested in what it is that I do, that's going to be something that I'm going to review, because he's asking me, who's Dr. Anderson and what is he about and what does he teach and all that. That was a great review there. And I've also got somebody else I'm thinking of. Does anybody else have any feedback they want to give Julie's intro?
Well, I'm just really excited to be working with Julia. She's just, your top-notch client, the person you dream about having every time you start a new person. So I'm really excited to be working with Julia. And as you can tell, she's fully integrated. I mean, she's just a natural leader, and hopefully someday, Julie, I know you and I have talked about this, maybe a health coach down the road. So thanks so much for sharing today.
Thanks, Diane.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome.
Thank you.
Very good. And Julie, what area are you from? You said?
I'm in the Vancouver, Washington area. I live in Camas.
Okay, that's great. And something else you said your story is probably the standard story in the beginning. And interestingly enough, maybe more so it's becoming more standard in Take Shape for Life. But as far as America goes, the standard story is what? People do grab some kind of a diet program and then they fall off and then they, don't continue on. And so I love how you've taken something that should seem like common sense and basically made it the reality. And there was a statement someone told me last week, and it says, one of the most uncommon things that we might have in America right now is common sense, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about. And the fact that you've actually thought about, wait, I'm going to integrate myself. This is about my whole life and learning the things. And the fact that you're plugging into a support team and re-educating your brain is probably, we want to make it the new standard thing. And I'm glad you're a part of it. So very, very good. All right. Were there some other people who wanted to introduce anyone else that's their first time on meeting with us or maybe hasn't had a chance to be introduced before? Okay.
I just wanted to say this is my first time being able to be on the computer. We've had to do phone calls. And I can't explain how amazing this journey has been for me. This morning I hit 58 pounds lost.
Wow.
And I've been a health coach now officially for a week and a half. I've already signed my first client, and the more I do the training and get on the Zoom meetings and the webinars, it's like it has just totally changed my life. And I'm so thankful for all of you who are there to support me and help me on this journey. So thank you all so much.
Wow. Johanna, I can't express enough how amazing it was to connect with you last night on the impromptu meeting that Craig Blanchette put together. For those of you that missed last night, we had a great training together where we talked about the difference between empathy and sympathy. And for the sake of not overwhelming all of you, I'm really moved by what Johanna said. And the reason why is because of a heightened level of empathy that I got from last night in the meeting. We talked about what it means to actually listen to the point of when somebody's talking to you, regardless of whether, and this right now what I'm going to say doesn't have to do exactly with Johanna. It has to do with people. Regardless of whether you've experienced what they've experienced or not, whether it's pleasure, a joy, a pain, a sorrow, a tragedy, regardless of whether you've experienced that exact scenario or situation, you've experienced feelings in your life, most likely, that you can relate to. I'm going to go ahead and mute wherever that's coming from. There we go. You've experienced feelings that you could relate to that. And as Johanna was talking, I all of a sudden remembered, here's this person, this is her first time sharing on camera with us, right? And I remember what that felt like to do something for that first time. And then I thought, what did I feel like when I started and I lost my first, and then some of you may or may not have a big weight loss story, but I lost a lot of weight back in the day when I was 19. I lost about 55, 60 pounds. And I started remembering how that made me feel. My life completely changed. And if you haven't had that weight loss story, think about when something so exciting about your life changed and how new that was for you, so you can get that feeling. And imagine that's how Johanna is feeling right now. There's something so new in her life. And she's a new health coach too. So 58 pounds down, a new health coach, first time sharing her story on this camera with people that she's really, you know what I mean? Israel's pumping his fist. I'm getting so excited. It's like, whoa. And now she has her first client. And I'm sorry for going over the top on this one, but the limbic system in my brain is kind of going crazy right now because I'm feeling what this feels like. And so I'm doing this because I want you to know that this is something that if you work on, you have to learn emotional intelligence on how excited you get, because you don't want to be like not relatable here. But this is for real for you, isn't it, Johanna? This is the real deal. So I'd just love to get your feedback on just how you're feeling and connected with all of this.
It's been almost euphoric, I would say, because I had gotten to a point in my life where I was really depressed, and I didn't think that I could be any better than I was. And I know I've said this a lot. I have 7 children, so you'll hear craziness in the background right now. And I homeschool, so they're here all the time. And I felt like this was just my life. And as great as being at home with my kids is and how much I really enjoy it, I felt like the way things were, I didn't have the energy and the time that it took to really live a healthy lifestyle. I thought it was an impossible task. I felt like I couldn't climb out of the hole that I was in. And, when I did other programs, it just seemed like it was this huge, insurmountable thing. Like, I can't live up to those expectations of what I have to do every day to lose weight. And this has just been so amazing to find a way that not only is it easy in my current lifestyle, okay, but that it has made an impact on my family, on my friends. It has totally changed my entire way of life. And that was just with being a client. Now that I'm a health coach, it's even more. It has raised the level of what I expect from myself and how I run my household and what I'm doing. It's making me a better person. And that's what last night's Zoom meeting about empathy really hit home for me, was that being a coach in this company is not about building a business so much as it's about becoming a better person and truly making your world, your sphere of influence better. And that is so uplifting. I feel so good about myself knowing that I accomplished this with the help of people who care about me. And now I can pay it forward to all the people that I know and that I love and I care about. It's just, it really changes your whole life. And I am so thankful. So thank you all. Again, it's just been, I am so looking forward to a life filled with health and a life filled with purpose. So thank you.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'd like to thank you. Oh my gosh, you just reminded me of all the reasons why we're all doing this and all of the emotion. I'm like on the edge of tears with it because of the joy out of it. So thank you, Johanna, for sharing from the heart and getting the pulse going again. Not that it ever slows down much, but boy, did that sure jumpstart it for me. So thank you.
Johanna, I've just enjoyed seeing your face. I'm so excited to meet you. And what you're talking about can't be taught. So just thank you so much for brightening our morning already.
Yeah, I'd say the sunshine definitely has come out here this morning. And if you did forget why you fell in love with health the first time, if you did forget why you decided to pay it forward, I think if you were paying attention, you remembered. I would encourage that we would go back and maybe listen to this recording again, from even a deeper standpoint. So there's a theme here of really having compassion with someone, and that's what empathy is to actually be there, and whether it's joy or suffering, either way, to be there with the person experiencing what they're feeling. Sympathy is where you are just there, acknowledging that they have some feelings that suck or that are exciting. Oh yeah, that sounds really cool. That's sympathizing. Oh, that really sucks. You want a sandwich? I mean, just something there to try and comfort them. There, and I'm being funny because we watched this video last night that it really was hilarious how like sympathy can come across. And it's not that sympathy is always bad per se, but it's nowhere near the level of actually sharing with somebody. And empathy does not require that you have an answer for this person. It doesn't require that you have words that you can express, oh, I know exactly how you're feeling. What empathy does is it just feels, and it basically says, I'm here with you, even if you don't know what to say. And you can even say things like, I'm here with you. I don't know what to say. I'm so glad you shared with me. And that's a pretty amazing thing. And Joanna, I absolutely am here with you, and I'm so glad you shared. All right, guys. So we've got any other introductions? Anybody else who's fairly new or who hasn't been on? I know that could be scary to go behind Johanna with that kind of a, but be a little vulnerable. That was the next thing we talked about, was vulnerability. So anybody else want to say hello? Okay. So I'm kind of, I got to try to remember where the heck we are. We're on a Zoom team meeting here, talking about exactly what we're talking about. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and move into a little bit different area here. Does anybody have anything where they have studied or looked into the habits of health system, whether it's the nurses' calls, the habits of health calls, the leadership call, that is prepared to give us a 1 to 3 minute, just, wow, this is what I got out of this call, and I really learned a lot from it, or the webinar. So raise your hand and show me who was prepared for that. Great. So I've got Mark, I've got Daniela. Daniela, would you like to share with us this morning? We'll unmute you there. All right, we got you.
Okay. All right. So I'm in a Starbucks, so I don't want to be super loud, but can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Great. So I listened to the nurses' call this week, which was done by Frida Keller, a registered nurse. Absolutely fantastic nurses' call. Just some of the highlights. It was on the topic of not falling off the wagon, or how do you not fall off the wagon. And she kind of opened it up with, people who start for a couple of weeks and then they sort of just fall off. And I was really excited to hear what she addressed, because I find that it was really valuable. So she said she really feels like it comes from not attending to emotions. And for me, that was really big, because I really feel like a lot of our country doesn't attend to her emotions. And she asked the question, what causes you to check the cupboards or the pantry when you're not really hungry? Wow. And to really zero in on that. She gave 9 tips, and I'm not going to go into detail because this call is so great, you need to listen to it, but I'm going to name the 9 tips for you. One was journaling. And she really went in a little deeper into, how to do that and the steps for doing that. She also talked about being truly committed and what that looked like, and digging into the why, your reasons for being on program. Absolutely getting the meals in. And having an instead list of activities. So what do I do instead of roaming the pantry? She also talked about really attending to chapters 1 to 5 in the Habits of Health system, and the DVD that goes along with that. And let's see. And then there were some points that really stood out to me, that everyone needs support. even all of us as health coaches. And, I think we can be pretty good at that, but I think sometimes we can even forget that our mentor or our health coach is right there, and just reach out, and that it's normal. Some of the topics that they brought up had to do with leg cramping and low blood pressure, which are always interesting topics because I know with our patient group we run into these situations. And one of the things that she brought up that I have not heard before was the Power Zero for helping the leg cramps. And so I thought that was really great versus, maybe getting some a potassium pill or something like that. So that was really great. And I think many of us know probably about the bouillon for the sodium level. But so those were my highlights from the call. Really phenomenal call. She did a great job of going over those 9 points and how to really help people move forward with that. She also pointed out one thing that I know I'm going to commit to my memory is that in Appendix A of the Habits of Health system, there is a letter to the doctors. And I guess I sort of knew that, but I got kind of an aha in my head when she said that, because I generally send my clients a letter for them to take to their doctor. But what I thought about was what would happen if we just shared with the client, there's this great letter in Appendix A in your book, and what if you bring it to your doctor and your doctor actually has an aha moment while they're looking at that letter, because the whole book is there and it's the Habits of Health book. And it just may be something that gets the physician interested. So, and she also talked about that Lori has an email address, getfitfast@comcast.net. And that was not something I knew. So those are my takeaways, and really awesome call. Highly recommend hearing that.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Daniela. As I was listening, I was taking notes. One of the things that really can help you move forward from a meeting like this is to take a series of notes on a journal. And I keep a daily journal with myself like this, and I'm constantly cataloging every single day different things. And then what I'm doing is I can go back on any given day because I keep them chronological. And I can put check boxes next to an action item. And if that checkbox is unchecked, that means I haven't taken action on that item that I thought was a very actionable item. And that way, and I know some people have smartphones. I'm going to mute you for a second, Daniela. Some people have smartphones and other devices. But what I found with me is having a analog system, meaning writing on pen and paper with this journal, works a little better when it comes to getting things done. Because my smartphone, I have to go look into subpages. There's Facebook pop-ups, there's emails, there's other things that distract me. And while I was going to look at my tasks and action list, I find that I end up getting distracted into something else, right? By going into that little window. So this journal allows my thoughts to be unadulterated, if you will. They're completely focused. They're what I said I wanted to do. What I got out of what Daniela was sharing is that this Appendix A, I'm going to go backwards from what she talked about, is in the back of your Habits of Health book. And there's a lot of appendixes there. And there is a particular letter. And if you want the electronic version of that, if you're a doctor, I believe there might be one that's available on Office in Motion. You can type in the Appendix A in your document library. And if you don't know how to do that, talk with your business coach on how to source that information. But you can also just take a photocopy of this as well, and or retype it. But I'd say just get the copy out of the document library. And I took an action note that I'm going to send that to my new doctor that I just recently met, who's asking about the program. The next thing I noticed was that there's 9 points, and Frida's already done it for us. And so I don't need to sit there and reinvent the wheel if I'm looking for great content for the clients I'm supporting. So what I can do is take a couple of those points saying, oh my, there are 9 points that are going to help you succeed. And do you know why people fall off the wagon and how the people that stay on do? I can post that on Facebook, right? And then what I can do is to all the new clients that I've basically brought on in the last few months, I can tag their name and saying, oh, hey guys who are just getting started in the Support and Celebrate group, check this out. Let me know what you think, and tag their names and leave a link to that support and celebrate. Leave a link to that that call, that nurse's call. And what will happen is they'll see the nurse's call, they'll know about the link, they'll know that there's success tips. And I don't want to go on too far, but I wanted to give you that as a way for you to learn how to utilize this kind of a format. Take notes, checkbox things, think about who else would benefit from this information. And I took a lot more notes other than that, but for the sake of your time and other people sharing, I wanted to keep it short. Okay. Anybody else have any feedback from the Frida Keller and what Daniela shared with us?
Danielle, that was a great review. I literally just texted that to 5 of my clients. So thanks.
All right, great. And for those of you who, Sam, it was great seeing the other Sam. It's great seeing you. If you've got to go soon, thank you for the feedback, and you'll definitely want to listen to the rest of this too. So sounds good. All right, who else has had a chance to review and wants to share with us?
I have the Habits of Health call, Alex.
Excellent.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we can see your
Okay.
see your Top Gun glasses okay too.
I'm outside. It's really bright.
No, it's all right. You're just cool.
Yes, thank you. That's what Sam said. So before I even talk about this call, if you have not listened to it, I will hold you at gunpoint until you do so, because it is so freaking good. Oh my gosh. Maybe Sam knew I needed to hear this, but it has lit a spark under me. So basically what the whole thing was about is moving forward to optimal health and how to stay on track. Some people are struggling, for whatever reason, and other people are super encouraged. But either way, this call is going to help you so much. I can't even begin to tell you. No matter what part of your journey you're in, you're going to have times when you're stressed. You'll have stress storms. You'll have different things that'll kind of make you fall off the mountain of optimal health. And so what I want to say, his name was David Bush. He's a certified coach. What he really talked about was how it's important to create a failure response system. And to keep that in place for when you do have times that you're kind of falling down and stuff. And he had really 7 key things that he said really help. And when you put these 7 things in place, excuse me, it really helps you climb back to where you are. And the first thing, I'm not going to go into them too much. Please watch or listen to the call. It really is amazing. But the first thing was the wrong perspective on how to live a longer, happier, healthier life. And that how we are we're all practicing to the habits of health. And so it's not that if we fall off every once in a while that it's bad. It's when we're consistently falling short that you need to, talk to your health mentors and health coaches and find out why. The second thing is losing focus on the purpose, the why. If you're having issues, look back at your why. Why did you do this? Why do you want to be healthy? And just go back and clarify it. It's typically when you stumble and you fall, it's because you forgot about your why. The third thing was you lose sense of your priority. Once you lose the weight and your health, risks kind of start going down, you lose priority because you're like, oh, I'm healthy now. So just always keep in mind that, optimal health is a constant journey, and just because you've lost the weight, doesn't mean that it's finished. It's always there. Create a plan. I shouldn't say create the plan. Stick to the plan. The plan is in front of us. It's given to us. Don't modify it. It's there because it works. It's scientifically tested. Don't try to modify it. Your modifications aren't scientifically tested. Just stick to what the plan is there. It's there because it works. That was number 5. Let's see. Number 6 was be prepared. Whether you have to organize your pantry, organize your life. If you have to go grocery shopping a little bit more, do so. Whatever you got to do to put things in place to make sure that you're successful. Be persistent was another one, and then partnership. Use your health coach. Yes, they're there to help celebrate when you have, your good times, when you have non-scale victories, but, contact them when you're in the dark and you're sitting in front of that piece of pie and you're like, oh my God, I want this pie so bad. Call them, tell them that you're having trouble with things like that, and don't be afraid. That's ultimately what they're there for. And they can put the resources in front of you if they don't have them to overcome those things. So that's essentially it. Please, please, please. I know I've said this probably 3 or 4 times. Go listen to that call. It is amazing.
Anybody else have any thoughts for Mark before I share?
Mark, I knew you would love that call. Doug Bush is just a very concise.
That's David Bush.
David Bush. I always call him Doug.
David Bush.
Yeah.
He's a really great presenter and really gets his point across. So, yeah, definitely.
Right on. And Sam M., you were going to say something there.
I just wanted to make sure I had the name right. I'm going to listen to that.
All right.
That's a good one.
Excellent.
So I wrote down several clients' names. That's why I was jotting down, because that sounded like some great content to connect clients to. So thank you very much, Mark.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Alex, is there a way to get a permanent copy of that?
Of what? The David Bush recording, The Habits of Health?
Yeah, the one that I just listened to.
Yeah, there is. And I'm glad you brought that up. Some of you may or may not know this. So on the we have the support system, which is the support calls. They're all recorded on MP3 on a site called Habits of Health. supportcallsonline.com. So if you go to www.supportcallsonline.com. Now, if you have a smartphone, you can download what's called a podcast player app, either Android or iPhone. It works just fine, and they're free. There's 2 podcast players that are rated number 1 and number 2, and you'll know that because they have the most amount of people who have downloaded them. It takes about 30 seconds to download this player on your phone. What you do once you have that is you go into the search feature and you type in TSFL, and it will pull up all of these 3 different types of recorded calls, or 4 different types of recorded calls that happen weekly with Take Shape for Life. You have what's called the doctor's call, the nurse's call, the Habits of Health call, and the leadership call. And so you want to subscribe to each of those calls. And then from there, the podcast player will automatically download that call in a format that your phone uses. So MP4, MP3, depending upon which iPhone or Android device you have. That's probably irrelevant to you. The point is that you can download that and listen to it back for playback whenever you'd like. Now, the only drawback that we have is just timing of when those calls are uploaded to podcast. When they first come out, they are live, so they're not recorded on anything. Well, they're being recorded, but they haven't necessarily been uploaded. So it might take about a week before whoever the administrator of these is puts them onto the podcast. In the meantime, you can only listen to the recorded playback from the playback number that we have. And it's where you can anybody tell me where you can find those recorded playback numbers? There's at least 2 places you can source where all those recorded phone numbers are.
Inside the first page of file folder 1.
Okay, so for clients, where could clients find it that don't have file folders?
The website?
Quick start guide.
Yep, on the last couple pages of the quick start guide. Yep, so for you as a coach, file folder number 1, great, Mark. For everybody else, including coaches, last couple pages of the quick start guide. And then also on your co-branded website, there is a support tab on the upper right-hand corner. And there's also one on your navigation bar. If you click on the support, teach clients that right from the very beginning. If you ever need support and I'm not available, or you want it and you want to find where it is, click on the support link and you will find all these Take Shape for Life customer service numbers. You will find support call numbers. You will find nutrition support services, emails, all that other stuff. Exactly. The only call that's not on that folder or in that quick start guide is the leadership call. because it's not one of the client bio network of support. It's definitely part of the trilogy of optimal health, the healthy lifestyle, healthy finances. And that number, again, if you go to www.supportcallsonline.com, no, that one's not there. Leadership Call is a little bit different source to find that. That one you've got to go to your Office in Motion or Trilogy training system, or you can find it off of the Team Global webinar site. I don't want to overwhelm you, so let's put it this way. If all that was like, what? Now all of a sudden I got lost, just remember the supportcallsonline.com and remember inside your quick start guide. Okay?
Alex, one thing that's new that I find really fantastic is Russ is adding the topic of the calls. So now when you're trying to go back to find something, I'm really excited about that, because you can go back and you can find what you're looking for much more easily.
Oh, that's great. So basically, if you don't have, and for new coaches, you really want to avoid going into too much education. Follow your business coach's advice. But business coaches, you can send your coaches this link here to this leadership call page where all of these calls are hosted. And so here's this June right here. You've got Dr. Wayne Anderson, who did this call in June 2nd. So clearly, let me see, what was last Monday's? Was that last Monday's? My dates are off. I think it was. Today's like the 6th right now, right? Something like that. Okay. So yep. So June 2nd is up there, Mark, as an example. And so right now, if I was to click on this, I can listen to this call right from this this website. I can also subscribe over here on podcast, and I could do all this from my smartphone as well. Okay.
The calls come up really fast. It's only the webinars that take a week to get on. The calls are up like by the next day usually.
Yeah, this is a call. This is a leadership call here on the webinar. But yeah, you're saying that the support calls are getting posted pretty quick. Good. There was a time when they took a little longer. All right, but now let's go ahead and see if I can stop the share. I just want to show you all. I went to the Team Global webinars, and then I've got this leadership call link. Probably, you know what we could do? If you don't mind, we could post these on the Support and Celebrate page, just all these links up on there on the post. Would you be okay with posting them, Daniela, onto that page for us, or somebody?
Yeah, I can do that. So you just want me to list all of the call numbers, or is that, I just want to be clear as to what you want.
Yeah, just put the computer link, like if you just type in
link. Okay.
Yeah, just copy, paste it in there, and what it'll do is it'll show up and people would say, hey, here's where you can find all your support calls. And I think it'd probably be a good idea as a team that we would maybe post them up maybe once a week on our Support and Celebrate page, just so they're staying fresh and people, because we always have new clients coming on board, and it won't always be Daniela posting it, so as we think about it. All right, great. Any other comments or feedback? All right, so a couple of things I wanted to share, just that jogged my mind as Mark was talking about. He really talked about how phenomenal the call was and for us to listen to it. And I think that that's important again. And Daniela mentioned how she was thinking about, or Sam mentioned how she was thinking about people's names automatically. And then the other Sam was like, hey, I want to make sure I go back and listen to that call. What you're going to find is that if you keep a regular diet of optimal health consumption, listening to these calls while you exercise, listening to these calls while you're driving, instead of whatever the other diet that you have had that got you into trouble. You have to remember that not all things are necessarily bad or good, but if you have a routine or a habit, and I'll give you an example of myself. So I had a routine or a habit of always making a bunch of phone calls while I was driving all the time, right? Always calling. So my mind was never getting a chance to think. How many of you ever just find that you actually haven't given yourself 5 minutes in a day to actually think, because you're so busy doing the next thing off of the checklist, and it's just go, go, go. So 2 things here. One, taking an actual set time while you're driving or going for a walk or a jog or whatever, and actually doing that, and actually turning everything off and just giving yourself 5 to 10 minutes just to breathe and be present. And I guarantee you, if you haven't done it for a while, it'll feel like you're running a 5K at top speed because your brain will not want you to do that. It'll fight you. Like you'll be like, I could be making these calls. I could be getting back to so-and-so, and see if you can't just breathe and say, I'm alive. I'm right here. How do I feel right now? You know, am I feeling good? Am I feeling stressed? I'm just a little anxious right now. Is that how I want to feel? How do I want to feel? And take that mindful moment and just reset your life for just that time. And just get back on purpose. What am I about? Why am I making all these calls? What would make the most sense for me to do today that really would feed and fuel me, not just do my busy task list? If my life was over at the end of this day and there was no more life to live, what are a few things that I would have wanted to do, or a couple people that I would have wanted to call and say something to? What am I grateful for? Just take that 5 to 10 minutes to be present, assess how you feel, ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What are some of the things that I've been missing out on in my life? Okay. Now, the second thing, which is nowhere near as fulfilling and as deep as that, but still definitely will feed you and help fuel you, is to listen to some of this information before you need it. How many of you, okay, show of hands or just an acknowledgement, we're thinking as you're listening to Mark give that recap and Daniela give the recap of those 2 calls, we're thinking, wow, I really could use that information. Yeah, like, oh my goodness, I know people. And think about it. If you didn't take that time to be on this, that call may have been an archived call that you never would have known about. Well, the way to avoid that ever happening is to say, you know what? I'm going to give my brain and my life an hour and a half out of 168 hours to listen to those 3 support calls. And I'm just going to take the 30 minutes or 25 minutes that it takes, and maybe I'm going to add an extra one called the leadership call, so I can actually have my mind focused on what's right. So I'm going to give myself 2 hours out of 168 while I'm exercising or while I'm driving or while I'm just sitting and being and taking notes, which is actually the best for really, really fueling yourself, is taking notes and being present. And do that and train your brain to be there and be present. And then the key with this is one day, and maybe now, this could be it. This could be that moment right this second where you actually take those notes and those good thoughts and you actually act on them. And all those names of people that you wrote down that you were inspired to want to send this to, you actually send the information to them. You actually think about them enough to go, oh my goodness, it wasn't just a thought of caring, it's actually the act of caring, and I'm going to do it. All those great notes you thought about for yourself, like, wow, I really need those 7 points that David Bush or those 9 points that Frida Keller talked about. I'm actually going to take 1 or 2 of those points, just 1 or 2, and I'm going to see if I can integrate them this week. And I'm going to call my coach and I'm going to let him know I'm working on this point this week. Would you hold me accountable to that? And see what would happen if you actually did the work. Not necessarily easy, simple for sure, but worth it. And if you're having a hard time, ask yourself, is it worth it, even though it's going to be a little bit of a struggle from my norm? And by the way, what has my norm got me so far? And maybe I need to divorce norm and take on something new, right? So that's my thoughts with all of this sharing. And I know we've only covered 2 calls so far, but it's not about how much we can get in. It's about the quality of what we put in, and it's about, do we do it? We don't want to overfill the cup. All right. We have a few more minutes. Has anybody else taken the time to learn something that they will feel it's worthy of sharing and bringing out, or just you need to overcome that fear, that scarcity, and this is your chance to share because you did put something great into you? Any other hands that want to?
Alex.
Yes.
I'll just say, I listened to the leadership call and watched. I missed part of the on the live webinar Wednesday, but I caught most of it. And I think they really go together. But to start with what you're saying first, I've really found that in the beginning, this turned my health coaching completely around, which in turn turned around my business coaching as well. Was a lot of times, I think we're all human, and we get to that moment where you say we don't take 5 minutes for ourselves, 20 minutes for ourselves, just to kind of gather our thoughts and just be in the present. And the calls, all of the support calls, the webinars have really helped me carve out time for myself to really feed back into me so I can feed back into others. And so what I've realized is when I listen to these calls, sometimes before the calls, I'm scattered and I don't know what to do or what to send people or what to say to people because I don't have a nugget to give to them. So in the words of actually John, we're hanging out with him, when he started listening to calls, he said that it's not all of it that pertains to him or someone else, but he found that he finds a little pearl. And you might find just one little pearl or one little nugget that helps you and then can in turn help somebody else. But the leadership call and the live webinar that they did this Wednesday was really great. Listen to that leadership call as well, because personally, for what the vision that you have for yourself in this business and what you want to do with others, the leadership calls just fill me back up, because I know sometimes I get pessimistic. Sometimes I have disbelief in my dream. And all it takes is that 20, 25-minute leadership call to kind of feed back into me what I'm going to do and for my family, for others, and really brings hope out again. The webinar was awesome too, because if you've not been to an event or national convention, they really covered that from the perspective of the leaders that we learned from, and it was just really awesome. Chantel Flake said that her first national convention, she was an ED, and she thought she hit the pinnacle, like she's ED. It's awesome, and it is awesome. But she said she went there and the clouds like literally parted, and she got such a bigger vision. So this is all related to just really creating a bigger vision, honestly.
Well, thank you for that review. And when you look at what you just talked about and put that into action, that's when the magic happened for you. It's just that you had, just this is the thing about this. And I know, Sam, you wouldn't say this about yourself, but you and Harold have really started to fire. And so last night and this is before you got on, you'll have to listen back to that call. It was genuine, but you guys had at least 3 or 4 people on that call. When Craig did something funny. He said, state who you are, where you're from, and then say who your favorite superhero is. And I was like, superhero? I can't even really think about like my favorite superhero. And your coaches who were like, well, I don't know about superheroes, but mine is Harold and Sam. Because they came in and swooped down and have changed my life. Like I was lost, I was trapped, and they came in and did the superhero thing in my life, right? And that's what we get a chance to do and I'm not trying to toot a horn here, but I am, because it's a health horn. Honk, honk, honk. We're really making a difference in a life, and that's what superheroes do. And why I'm sharing that is because superheroes are, what are they called? They're called action figures. Have you guys ever heard that? They're called action figures because they take action on needs, right? And that's what we did. So I'm going to ask all of you, and I didn't have that thought process. My brain just figures it out as it goes. That's what I heard you say is that you started taking action and you fought the resistance. And that's what superheroes also do. They fight the resistance for good. Your brain is going to have resistance. I guarantee you, if you are just doing something worthy of your attention, worthy of your time, worthy of your energy, there is going to be resistance, and you turn into action figure mode and you say, yes, this must mean I'm doing the right thing or I'm thinking the right thing, and now I'm going to do it. And you're going to blow through that barrier and wall. That's what superheroes do. You're going to scale those mountains, and you're going to do that, and you're going to go in and lift and support people up, even yourself at times, by refilling your brain, and you're going to take action. And when you look at that as a whole, and Daniela says, I need to head out. And that's right. She's going to take her super figure action self, and she's going to head out and share the opportunity. And that's what we need to do now. We're at the end of this call. We got to get out of this jacuzzi, right? We've recharged all of ourselves up. We know who we are now. We're here to help support other people. Put your action figure on your chest, a big A, and then go out there and take this information. And we've got the goods. We've got what people need, and we're going to plug people into it. And the thing about it is you don't have to be me. You don't have to be Israel. You don't have to be Gina. You don't have to be John and Karen, who are listening in for another time with us. Linda, and all the people on the calls, Allison and Sam. You don't have to be Johanna. You have to be the person who cares enough to ask someone, do you want to do life with me? This is amazing. Do you want some of this? And if they do, invite them so they can get around this team and plug them in. With that said, I hope to see all of you throughout the week on Facebook, and for certain in July in Anaheim. And ask yourself, as the action figure that you are, how, why do I want to go there? Do I want to go there? And ask your business coach, how can we get me there? All right? And we'll bust those barriers down, that resistance in your brain and in your life and the logistics. And I seriously am telling you the truth. There is nobody who's ever wanted to go to an event that I haven't been able to get there. That's 100% record, whether it was finances or mental, emotional, or time. If they really wanted to, we figured out a way, and none of them have regretted it so far. So that's my parting words. Anybody else have any other thoughts or parting words? Israel, what were you showing?
Oh, that was actually two pictures. Superman just like busting through a wall, like breakthrough, and then he was like lifting up like this big old massive like boulder. So it's pretty cool. I don't know, I just thought I would share that.
That's great. Can you show it again? Because I'm gonna put it on, and then you have to talk and explain that so it comes up on speaker view. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, that was on my iPad. You want me to?
Sorry. Oh, it's on your iPad.
I just Googled Superman and then went to images and it came up.
And the images, and it's interesting because that's what we're doing. We're here to support people, and we're here to break through all those barriers. All right.
Yeah. Alex, I want to just say something real quick. You shared something really important. You said we fight the resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the resistance we really have to fight is ourselves. So go to battle against, the negative you, and pull out the positive, and use these are our resources. So that's awesome.
Real quick, I wanna let everybody know. My husband and I decided last night that no matter what, he and I are going to make sure that I am at the convention in Anaheim. I am so excited. So I'm going to be there. I'm really excited. So thank y'all.
Okay, like as if I wasn't going to cry already about your story. And now everything is so new for you. It is a new day. I love it. All right, action figures. It's the first day of the rest of our lives. Let's go do something.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Alex, I'll talk to you soon. I have a meeting with my CPA that I totally blew him off for about 20 minutes, but it was a great meeting.
All right. Give me a call when you can.
Alex,
Yep.
We're on for noon, right?
Yep, we're
you got
on.
my invite?
Yep.
Awesome, man.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.